actually, all the presentations that we've heard today. I have to say, I'm really impressed by all these presentations, all the speakers, and by the range of perspectives and of experiences that you have brought to this event today. We've had global legal context, global statistics, a global context on pollution management in the presentation we just had from you just now, Thomas, but also earlier from Espen and Emmeline. We've had a lot of hands-on experiences of literally sieving noodles out of the sand and cleaning plastic from beaches of Norway and Sweden and Denmark and even Sri Lanka. To the insights from Gisela earlier about the incident investigation that really highlighted the whole chain of factors that led to the Transcarrier incident happening in the first place. And we even heard about some other sources of plastic pollution on the coast. It's not all just about shipping. So thank you to all of you. I have you on a screen next to me here now. So I would like to invite all of you, all of the speakers, to please turn your cameras on. And check that you are centered on your webcam and that you are visible to the audience if you are able to. We now have almost half an hour. We have until 5 minutes to 1 to go through some questions that we prepared in advance, because we would like to gain some more reflections from all of you as a panel of speakers. So what I will do is I will read out a question. We have 6 questions prepared in total. We may not be able to get through all of them, but that is okay. I will read out one question at a time, and all of you are able to speak if you wish to. Oh, my monitor. Anyway, I have a technical issue here with my monitor, but it's okay. So I will read out a question. If you wish to speak, and if you wish to say something, please raise your hand. It helps me if you can raise your hand virtually. In Zoom, there's a little box, there's a little button that makes it easier for me to see if you have your hand raised. And then I will invite you to say something. If you don't, sorry, I have to turn my second monitor on and off. That's why I'm leaning forward a bit. It's okay if several of you answer the same question. That works for us. And we'll see how many questions we get through and how much time we have. So the first question I have for you is, in retrospect, what are the most important lessons that were learned from the Transcarrier incident? Most important lessons. Gisela, I see you have your hand up. Please go ahead. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, I think I touched on that on my presentation from our side, and also, so we need to prevent it from happening. That's I think that's the key thing. What I believe, and that's why we'd rather learn before the incidents than after the incidents, and I think that's vital for everyone. From our side, we need to address the risks better, and we need to carefully monitor and do what we can to prevent this from happening. So that's on the pre side. After the incident, I think the lessons learned is that this cooperation worked. It really works when you get those party who knows the Oslofjord better than anyone, to actually take charge and to be the leader of the operation. That was very effective, and it's a different spill than an oil spill is. It needs different tools and different organization, I think, as compared to an oil spill, and that was a very important factor to having a success in the cleanup. If it's a success, that can always be discussed because there is plenty of noodles still out there. But I think that's a key learning from our side.
Thank you very much, Gisela. Would anybody else like to come in on that question about the most important lessons learned from your perspective? Ryan, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what I said at the end of mine. I think we have a need for national contingency plans if this does happen again. I do agree that prevention is what we need to focus on, but if this does happen, that we need to have plans that go into effect to take care of it very quickly. And that does include the local protocols for our municipalities. So that's just what I wanted to add.
Thank you very much. Any other thoughts or comments? Okay, I will move on to the next question then, which actually it sort of builds on what Gisela was just saying. So in order to prevent similar incidents from happening in the future, which would be the most important steps to be put into effect? Is there anything else that any of you would like to say that hasn't already been said, or that you'd like to stress in particular that you feel hasn't been stressed enough? Thomas, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's probably just worth reiterating really what's just been said, that contingency planning really is key. I'd support that it is very different in terms of tools and equipment, and contingency planning should account for this. If specific plans can be made for debris spills, then it would only be a good thing. So yeah, absolutely.
Gisela, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, just to follow up on Aspen's presentation, where he says that there is a movement when it comes to regulation, and there was a question on the Zoom also asking whether a plastic bag or something inside a container. And yes, it was a plastic bag, but it was not fit for any external force. Basically, it was just put there to prevent it from going outside the container during loading. So we need some rules. We need to treat this as something else than just a regular cargo, basically, because you can't. It's like putting a hole in a tank. It pours until it's empty. So this regulation work and this best practice thing, that's something we need to work on, and we need to get that in place.
Thank you very much, Gisela. If at any point you have thoughts that go back to the earlier questions, that's okay. You know, you can just raise your hand and sort of return to earlier points. I will continue to move on now and go to the, Espen, you have your hand up, go ahead.
Here. Yes, I just want to have a follow-up on the matters related to lack of regulation, as this the plastic pellets are not covered by the IMDG code. And although there's a proposal now in the IMO, in the Marine Environment Protection Committee, to look into it, I think in that relation, it's actually important to highlight that this won't be a quick fix. This is work that will definitely take some time. It won't it won't be finished over the course of the next few months. So but I think I don't remember really who mentioned it, but there's actually some companies that on their own initiative have implemented best practice routines, which is in fact so that's a pleasure to hear that someone is actually doing more than what they're required to. So yeah, but I think it's been mentioned by many today that lack of regulation is a problem. So I think it was just important to highlight it, that it's not yeah, this is a slow process, if I may say so. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Gisela, go ahead.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, we have already implemented those things in our company, so we don't carry them on the forward part of the vessel where they're exposed. So, but as we also could see, the spill from Transcarrier was very small. Yeah, so unless we as an industry start pulling in the right direction, and also it's kind of interesting because I didn't know about plastic noodles until last year. So it was unknown that this was a big problem, and it was unknown. So to get things really working, we need to get the industry on board, and we need to start working. We need to keep a high pressure on that, and we're doing what we can. I have a meeting with the Norwegian Ship Owners Association in some weeks, where I will present the Transcarrier case and our lessons learned there. We also are in contact with all the parties that we can. But I think as an industry, we need to join forces here and talk to and the directorate, talk to your friends wherever, so we can sort of have a stronger push on this. It's important. Thanks.
Irmelin, and then I think we'll move on to the next question.
I didn't raise my hand first because I didn't have much new things to add, but just to highlight the thing that's been said about it taking a while, because it does take quite a long time to change the regulations. Obviously, it takes quite a lot of circulations and meetings and everything, but that's why we're then planning to first propose a circular, to develop a circular, because that can be a bit quicker than actually amending the IABG code. And then that would increase awareness for ship owners about the hazards associated with plastic pellets.
So we've heard a lot about the regulatory side, and we've heard a lot about the actions that industry is taking and can take and should take. The next question really concerns the role of NGOs and voluntary organizations. So what is it that they can contribute? Florina, please go ahead.
Thank you. We really see that it's a strength to have volunteers on site, because mostly often it's people who live out on the coast. So they're really there where we want to look, and it's hard to look if you don't have eyes on the site. So it's really a strength to have, like, for us, an established beach cleaning map. So people are used to report things on a map, and to have like an established contact net. We have like social media as well to involve volunteers, and the beach cleaning map that we promote people to use all the times, like when they go cleaning. And the professional cleaners, they report on the same map, so that the volunteers also see the professional and the municipalities' work. So it's a really, we think it's a really good thing to have like an established cleanup routine, where we could then clean up the pellets as well. But we're missing like routines, as we said earlier, for acute pollution events, to have like a faster reaction. So I really hope that we will be able to work on that.
Thank you, Florina. Ryan, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add that I know that through OSPAR, Scotland is working on this pellet problem and trying to raise awareness of it. I think that one thing that we could do, the NGOs from this, is to put the conclusions from this workshop together and send it to the responsible in Scotland, so that they could take this incident and what the outcomes of it have been and work, I guess, from there out to the IMO and the responsible organizations that can do something about changing the international rules.
That is great, and that's great to hear that there's a specific action that is coming out of this conversation. Would anybody else like to add anything about the NGOs and the voluntary sector and the role that they can take? Zarina, you have your hand up again.
Yes, I just wanted to add to what Ryan just said. Maybe it would also be good if we can have like a lessons learned, and if Norway also could like sum up their routines, that we could share it with OSPA and Helcom as well. I heard that one of them, I think Helcom, was also working on something like some routines, so that we can really share it in the established networks and yes, share it to the other countries as well that are not participating today.
I think that sounds like a great idea. This is also something that will have relevance more globally, maybe. Gisle, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
I'm talking all the time now, but that's just how it is. Without the NGOs, we wouldn't manage so successfully. So that was key to our success. And we were very clear on that. We shouldn't treat them as volunteers. We should treat them as employees, because we don't want to take advantage of people's goodwill when we are the polluter. So that was also important for us to make it clear that these are paid workers. So we are doing they are paid workers to clean our mess. Yeah. And the thing with plastic noodles is that it spreads so widely. So unless you have, like it was said, unless you have plenty eyes out there and plenty hands, you're not effective. So this ability to be everywhere at the same time was extremely important in our case. And luckily, almost luckily, the major hit point was the Oslofjord. Yeah. So ÅF could manage the sort of the operation from one point. If it could be that it spread over a lot bigger area, and we would use other organizations and on other NGOs also. But again, it was vital for this operation that we had them, and we are so thankful for their efforts in this, really.
Thank you. I think this is a great point that leads us really on to the next question, because I think what we're hearing here is the importance of cooperation and the importance of integration of different actors and different actions to really address this issue, from prevention through to dealing with incidents, from the global to the local scale. So do any of you have any thoughts or any comments on how that necessary interaction and that necessary collaboration can be encouraged and facilitated? What is it that helps make that collaboration happen in practice? Thomas, please go ahead.
I'd say just from our perspective, when we get involved in incidents is and I think it was previously mentioned, is someone taking responsibility at the start to coordinate, and in this case it was the NCA, I believe, and organizing sort of instant command meetings where all stakeholders have a seat that can take an ear, listen to the updates and updated scenarios, so everyone's on the same page. They have all the standard information. Otherwise, it's very much like Chinese whispers. People are getting delayed information later on, and it slows down the whole process. So I think a key point from our perspective is probably regular command meetings that include all stakeholders. That's NGOs, government, volunteer representatives. Obviously, if they become too long, they can become unwieldy and inefficient, and that's also something that's been observed in past cases. But particularly during the initial phase, it's concise, relevant information to all parties, so it can be disseminated, and even requests for assistance. They can state, this is what's needed, this is where it's needed, and this is the contact details to do it. And then people can go out and filter in a coordinated way. Otherwise, if there's a request for assistance, it can become chaotic and not standardized. And obviously, I think if that's detailed in any coordination plans, so for an oil spill, it's in the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan. But if it's a bespoke one for such scenarios like this, then that could really, I think, benefit and help everyone. I hope that's useful.
Thank you, Thomas. Any further comments? What about the international aspect of this? What about ways of making sure that lessons and experiences are effectively shared, and that actions are coordinated where necessary internationally as well? So that's in relation to notification when incidents do happen, communication about the cleanups and cleaning methods and effectiveness. Ryan, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. My thought was that it was mentioned before the Copenhagen Agreement. We've had good contacts with the Danish Navy through KIMO, and they coordinate when it comes to oil spills. And I know that their responsibility stops when it reaches the shore, but they do have a wide contact group in the Nordic countries, which could be an authority that could promote this, or through their contacts with the national governments, try and coordinate this somehow.
Gisela, go ahead.
Yeah, and from our point of view, it's ITOP that sort of makes that international network of ours. And whenever we have whether it's a pollution incident like this or an oil spill, they are involved, and we get to drag on their experiences and their knowledge all over the world. So from a ship owner's perspective, they are our tool to be able to spread the knowledge and experiences throughout the world, basically.
Thank you.
Thomas, go ahead.
Yeah, just to repeat that point, I guess it's absolutely right. We're that's a role that we do in addition to responding on site and remotely and providing advice. We also have a database of all the incidents that we've been involved in or that we've provided advice on, and if that's ever needed, it's free of charge. Anyone can get in contact and collect that information if they want to. We can provide it in terms of a GIS map for the location of the incidents, but also the knowledge transfer. We do lots of these sorts of things. So yeah, we'd be more than happy to assist in that respect.
Thank you. Gisela, you have your hand up again. Go ahead.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, and also even if there is no ship owner involved, and then therefore the P&I club is not involved. Yeah, so ITOP is not contacted. It's definitely a helpful experience base for the authorities to reach out to ITOP. If you should simulate a nurdle spill, then ITOP have more knowledge than anyone on how to do that, and say that we didn't manage to find that this came from Transcarria, then we wouldn't be involved. Yes, so this ability to contact ITOP and use their experience should be communicated throughout. And I think I hope that Thomas is not angry now because I'm selling it to other than the ship owners, but I think that's this knowledge in ITOP is vital, basically.
Yeah, I'll add to that. For final closing comment, I guess that I completely agree with all of that. And there's a good example of that, I think, is there was an oil spill, a mystery spill in Brazil. And although there was no vessel held responsible, ITOP responded and assisted the Brazilian government and spent, I think it was weeks, months there to assist in responding and creating coordinated cleanup measures. So even if it's not from a vessel, we do offer assistance, and we can deploy to site as well. So governments can reach out as well. Anyone can notify us, NGOs, governments, or ship owners and insurers.
Thank you, Thomas. We have about 2 more minutes before we hand over to the closing of this event. Are there any final thoughts, any final reflections, anything you wish you'd been asked that you would like to share before we wrap up and close this event? Thomas, do you still have your hand up, or is that a new hand?
Yes, I'll just say a final point there. I really appreciate, thank you for having me. I think this is a great forum to discuss lessons learned. If more of this happened, there'd be a lot better techniques involved and people would respond a lot more efficiently. So thank you. I also wanted to add that I think the Norwegian example, the Transcarry incident, was really good in terms of setting the bar and the standard of what can be done, and the mapping solution that was created was really effective, in my opinion. It enabled public to notify where they had observed nurdles, which there can't be enough responders to do that on such a big coastline. So using NGOs, public, to notify the location, treating them as responders, it's a good example, but getting that data in a coordinated map that's transboundary, so Sweden, Norway, and Denmark can all visualize it. I think that absolutely should be included in contingency planning, using this mapping system in the future. So yeah, thank you.
That is great. Thank you, Thomas, because that was basically an answer to the question that I didn't have time to ask, which was about the mapping solutions and the role of the public in this. So that was great timing. Thank you very much for saying that. I must say I have really enjoyed this, despite the seriousness of the topic and some of the depressing statistics that we hear about, and the challenge that we face. Yeah, I have really learned a lot, and I'm really happy to have been able to be here today. And thank you again, for me personally, to all of the